whole time.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Performers on Performing. I'm one of your hosts this week, Maxwell Shultz. I'm joined with my co-host this week,
John Beahm.
John Beahm. I was going to say your name, but I figured it'd be better for you to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you just heard a not very filthy clip from the lovely Torrey Slaughter. Thank you for being here, Torrey.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So the idea of the show is it's 2 of 5 co-hosts, 2 of 5 of us, interviewing in this case, comedian, but we also often have musicians, actors, authors, anybody who considers themselves a entertainer, I guess, a performer, is fair game for the show. And I want to have you on with John. I wanted to have it with John because while John does a lot of the acting stuff, you are very much an actor in your performance. I think it's you're very animated. You're very. I imagine when you practice or rehearse to do a set, there's a lot of like your downstairs neighbors probably get angry.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm a pacer. I'm the guy that's on the phone, starts in the bedroom, and is somehow upside down in the bathroom talking, kicking my foot.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm in the living room. Now I'm on the porch. I can't
You're
sit
all over.
still. Yeah,
no. I get that. I sit by the fire in the summer and just and I'm alone, and people think I'm crazy for having a fire in the yard alone, but that's what I do. But you were telling us like right before we hit go that you just hit 2 years of comedy.
I just hit 2 years. Yeah.
That's huge, man. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yep. I wish I would have jumped and dived in it sooner.
Sure.
But it wasn't something that was accessible. Growing up in Chicago,
which seems weird because I feel like Chicago is such a big.
Yeah. Well. So what a lot of people don't know is Chicago, like now we're talking back in the 1990s,
sure,
early 2000s.
Yeah,
like the opportunities were there, but they weren't easily accessible.
Okay,
depending on what family you came
sure,
out of, or what neighborhood you lived in.
Sure.
Like in my neighborhood, there's no comedy going on in my neighborhood.
Right.
Chicago is so huge.
It's like.
Yeah. I have to travel 45 minutes in one direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To even see a sign about comedy.
Sure. Sure, kind of one of those, the opportunities there if you are in the opportunity already.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, we didn't even know like things like that were possible. We're like,
yeah.
We thought like you had to already be like like somebody in your family had to be in the industry and that's how you grow up. Like the little child actors.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm with
you. If you weren't like a child actor, then like that wasn't for you. You had to go find something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't know, like the idea of doing stand-up was just like that's a thing you can do. That's a thing you can do. Most comedians I know, myself included, have that revelation at some point, like before they go up. Like, wait a minute, I could talk at people.
Yeah, but we got to think like, man, we had just started internet when we were growing up.
Yeah.
So like, really,
I had no idea.
There was no Facebook post of an open mic every week.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. If you knew, you knew.
You knew, you knew. If you didn't, you
had no idea. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I have I can't imagine getting into the scene in like the 70s or the 80s. Like I have no idea how you just stumble into that. Like how do you how do you do that? How did Patton Oswalt do that?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Like I always think about that too, and I'm just like, if I'd have started my comedy career earlier, like where would I be right now? But then I just think about how I got into comedy in the first place.
Right. So tell us, how'd you get in?
So I was the GM of a bar, acting GM of a bar in Manchester.
Okay.
It's Central Ale House.
Oh, okay, sure.
And one of my biggest jobs was to stack entertainment.
Okay.
So, whether it be DJs, theme parties, I was doing movie nights.
Okay.
And then, Nick comes up to me and he goes, hey, how do you feel about comedy? And one of the bartenders that was there advocated for him.
Okay.
And I immediately went, well, how much does it cost? And I'm like,
sure.
It was like $75. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
$75, right? On
Yeah.
a dead Monday, like go for it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the first night they did comedy, in my head, I was just like, well, hey, let's all participate. Let's fill up his list
Yep.
and make everybody, seem like this is a good big night or whatever.
Sure.
It was my first time doing an open mic comedy.
That's awesome.
Right,
That's awesome.
I'll never forget Leland Newton. He looked me right in my face because he went up after me and he goes, "Is that your first time doing comedy?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Quit." Quit. And I was like, and that was my motivator from that on. I had to prove him wrong.
Right.
I was just like, all right, I have to prove him wrong.
And like, if people watching or listening to this don't know, Leland Newton is so good at this and
He's
such a good
good.
guy. Like, I feel like
really good.
he is really good, and I feel like for somebody like you to be like, Leland told me to quit, so I didn't. Like, yeah, of course,
didn't, no.
of course, that's how that would play out. Like,
Of course I didn't quit. I actually dominated the comedy scene in Manchester right after. I was like, you can't, for me, like, if I'm motivated enough, it doesn't matter what the task is. Like,
Okay.
It just drilled in my mind, and his comment drilled in my head so deep that I was just like, okay, watch this.
yeah, watch me get good.
So I essentially took advantage of a lot. So I was in the nightlife for so long.
Sure.
I took advantage of a lot of contacts that I had.
Yeah, of course.
And then what one comedian would struggle to acquire a venue, I could pick up the phone and be like, "Yo, hey Jim, yeah, I'm gonna come over and do a comedy show at your spot." And then he's just like, "Comedy show?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it, I got it." And he's like, "Well, I trust you, Torrey, go for it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, thank you."
Thank you, yeah.
So I've already had the reputation there.
Sure.
So it was easy for me to pick up and just walk into a spot and they're like, "Hey, we're doing a comedy show here this day." And then the clientele that I had in the city of Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
the Black and Spanish community was untapped.
Okay.
So it was just a lot of places where you could go where the lineups are just stacked with comedians
Mm-hmm.
that none of them know. And I mean, anybody right now who lives in a Black or Spanish community, if I don't know you, I'm not paying to go see you. Like, I have to know you're funny in order for me
Sure,
to buy a ticket.
sure.
So like a lot of people, like in the Black and Spanish community, they're not adventurous when it comes to comedy.
Sure.
Like, they have to at least go like, "Hey, I've heard that guy before. Hey, let's go. That guy's funny."
Yeah.
They can't go look at a lineup and go, "Hey, these guys look like they'll be funny." And
Right.
go.
Yeah. You can't look at somebody's face and go,
Yeah.
"Bet that guy can tell a joke."
So we had a large margin there. And then before I knew it, I want to say 2-3 months after Leland made that comment, we were doing shows with 100, 150 plus.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah. Wow. And like I don't know. I didn't like see you working like when you like then like 2 years ago. We probably met
That was terrible.
about a year ago, I would guess, but maybe a little more than a year ago. But I you guys just saw the clip, but I'm sure you didn't start comedy with this like just absurdist. I have great ideas that are never gonna happen. Let me tell you about them. Like that's just a joke of yours, but like you know what I'm saying. Like you didn't start like that.
No.
And I feel like nobody does.
No. What I did was I forced myself to go to all the open mics, and then it wasn't enough. So then
Okay.
that's when I reached out to Massachusetts. I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I reached out to everyone, and I got to a point where I was driving as far as Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Just to hit open.
I remember you
mics.
telling me that,
And
yeah.
I was like, I wanted it that bad, and I had to put myself in a position where I've seen everything. I went down to New York.
I remember you
I had
doing
the
that,
trip
yep.
to New York, and I was like, I want to see New York's comedy, Kentucky, Ohio. I went everywhere. Like, if it was drivable, what my rule was, if I could drive there in 8 hours, then I'll do it, because you'll work a shift for somebody else for
Yes.
8 hours. Why wouldn't you dedicate 8 hours to your own dream? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm with you.
So
I'm with you.
I just went everywhere, and then I was just listening to all different concept forms of comedy, and then I would say the biggest flaw for me is I don't write.
Okay.
I recite.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
like,
same way.
I
Like,
will literally, like the drive there in my head, I'm doing the bit over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'll do it over and over and over again. And then my bit will be one way, one show, and then I'll use crowd reaction to like learn what it's like learning what crowd wants to hear and how I can fine tune that joke
Yeah.
to match that crowd.
Yes.
And so now I make sure all my jokes are the pieces are interchangeable.
Yeah, that's what you want to be able to do.
You know?
That's
So I can like puzzle piece it together, but all the pieces fit.
Yeah.
No matter how I turn them. So
that's where you want to be. Is you want to get to a point where like you can write your set for the night, whether it's 5 minutes or 50 minutes, where it doesn't really matter the order. Not really.
Well, I just keep hoping that somebody doesn't go, yo, that was a great set. Can you do that same thing tomorrow? And I'm be like, no.
I can hit bullet points tomorrow.
Like, no, I cannot 100% recite my set today.
No, I couldn't. I would have to listen to a recording just for those 24 hours.
But you don't want to.
No, you don't.
It's a different crowd. It's a different night, a different circumstance, you know.
Yeah.
I learned that when I
changed,
went to
right?
New York. So New York, I went to one mic and I was a hit, and I went to another mic. I was like hoping nobody threw anything at me, and I'm like, I used the same joke. I was like, whoa, all right, so I'm gonna go now. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows where I parked.
I mean, honestly, I had the same experience like tonight. Like before I got to this, I was doing Mike in Salem, Massachusetts, right before this, and I opened with a joke that like has done well every time except tonight.
Yeah, no.
Tonight it fell flat. I don't know what I did differently.
That's why I never go to the same mic twice now.
Really?
No, I won't. Like in a month, I won't go to the same.
Okay,
mic
I thought you were
twice.
saying ever.
No. I don't go to the same mic twice.
In a
Like,
month, okay.
I'll go and I'll look, and then like it's like Wednesdays. Wednesday's normally my comedy day.
Okay.
Now. So like with my schedule now, Wednesday I'm doing something comedy related. I don't care what it is, where it is.
Okay.
I'm going somewhere. But I will go and I will be like, where haven't I been yet? I'm gonna go there. All right.
Okay.
Because like I did the mic over at Angel City in Manchester.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was even tired of my own jokes. I was like, all right. I was going up to the stage going like, I gotta do this bit again.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this is getting draining. And then I started to notice, like, you see the same 17 people now.
Yes,
Because
you do.
I was like, oh man.
You do.
Like, I'm not getting the same reaction I got when I first told the joke 2 months ago.
Right. I mean, that's my rule of thumb with like retiring jokes. Has one of the times I'll do it is if I'm tired of telling it. Like if it's not funny to me anymore. Well, how is so and so in the crowd going to find something funny that I don't find funny? That's when I usually stop with a bit, unless I want to record it or something. But then after I do, it's dead.
I took a weird. What I did was I just disappeared for a month. So, because I got tired of hearing, tell us all joke. And I'm like, I want to work on new jokes. I don't want to tell the same old jokes.
Yeah.
I wanna tell new ones.
You don't want to go to an open mic with your greatest hits.
And then they're like, well, that's what was happening to me. And they'd be like, tell us all joke. And I'm like, I'm trying to work on new stuff. And they'd be like, we don't care. We'll wait. And then I start to tell a solid joke, and everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm not coming here anymore.
Yeah. I get that. It's. I mean, so much of writing stand-up is doing it all over the place and testing it on different audiences, different demographics, different cities. And it's so wild the differences. Like you can play. I've done it. You can play. I'm sure you have too. The same room 2 nights in a row or a weekend, 2 weekends in a row, whatever. Do almost the same set and have wildly different reactions.
Wildly
yeah,
different.
it's wild how fluid I guess comedy can be in that sense.
Do you like playing off the audience?
I like playing off the audience. It's fun. But I prefer having a solid bit crowd reaction versus crowd work reaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Because crowd work for me, crowd work is easy. Like coming up in sales and working in nightlife, I've been interacting with people for like the last 20 years.
Sure.
So like the crowd work part it's so simple and so easy in my head for me, like the witty comebacks and everything that for me, that I don't enjoy it more than I would knowing that I put a bit together that somebody found funny.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like who's
I'm
a
with
perfect
you.
example of that? Perfect example. Hot. He on a hot streak right now. Matt Rife is a perfect example
Sure.
of that. We only see his clips and reels of his crowd work.
Yeah.
But then as a comedian, we all ask, okay, but what is his material like?
Yeah, what is the set?
And like how, and then now we're at like video 47 of just you've posted only crowd work. Now we got to start asking, like, all right, but is your set good?
Is there a set?
Is there a set?
Yeah,
or is it a
literally.
crowd work show?
Is it a crowd work show? Which is fine, but like address it as such almost,
Marketing wise, man, he's doing a great job.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
brilliant.
The crowd work
Really.
that they're recording, amazing. But like, it's kind of like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's another one.
Yeah, he
you
is.
know, if Kevin Hart's performance wasn't so spectacular, right?
Yeah.
His facial expressions, the words used, like how would that build out? You know, like
Yeah.
how all those different pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then like, I try to think about that with my own comedy. Like I don't want to become a one-trick pony. That's
Yes.
pretty much what I'm
Yes.
saying. Yeah.
Like I forget who it was, and I in an interview I heard somewhere, but like I heard somebody compare Dane Cook and Jeff Foxworthy, which I know is a strange show to compare, but they compared them in the sense of like you feel bad for them in the aspect of they put out an album where they did like a gimmick that took off, and now they are pigeonholed and can't do anything else.
Yeah, no.
Like they do those kinds of jokes. They can write new jokes, but those have to be like the tags forever.
That's it. You're stuck.
Forever. And I don't, like Jim Gaffigan's another one. Like, would he be funny if he didn't whisper to himself? Maybe not.
No, so you get. I don't want to be that. I want to be that person that's
Yeah.
stuck, and then like you can't venture out into anything
Right.
else because then everyone's wondering like, okay, so when he's gonna do the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's like, like a band or a musician that does something, like puts out several albums that are like really good in one genre and then wants to do something different. It never takes off because
T-Pain without auto-tune.
Perfect example. Perfect example. Like the guy's talented, but like those records aren't selling. And maybe they should be, but like it's just.
I remember he tried it.
I did too.
He released the same songs without auto-tune.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, yeah, no. No, he sounded amazing.
He did. He's got an
good.
amazing voice. He
They're
really
like,
does.
nope.
This isn't what we're used to, so no.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, and I don't want to be that kind of performer in any medium. I don't want to be, we know you because you do this kind of thing. Like, more than comedy. Like, I'm with you. It's not, I wouldn't call it scary, but like there's something to be said for being aware that you could that could happen. Like, we could get lucky and take off, which would be the best thing to happen to any of us, but like,
you take off in one certain fashion.
Yeah.
Not good. That's it now. That becomes you now forever.
Yes.
And it's like, imagine you're not even happy with that gimmick.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And you're like, hey, I actually want you guys, and then you got a whole team of people going, no, we just need you to do the thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, the only comedian I can think of off the top of my head, like famous big name comedian, that had a gimmick, broke it, never went back to it, and it worked out was Bobcat Goldthwait. Bobcat did that screaming character he did for 20 years or whatever, and now he just goes up there and is just like a guy telling real life stories, and it's great. I love both versions of his material, but like he's the only one I can think of that successfully dropped a gimmick and it was fine.
And then you made me think, because I just seen him recently. He's being booked at Worcester Hamburger. He's still doing the hamburger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember that when I was a kid.
Yes.
Like, you're still hamburger? Like, it's not bad, but like.
But it's what sells. It's what sells, I guess.
You know?
But that's not ideal. I don't want that.
No.
But you put a lot of this might be a silly question, but I do want to ask you it. If anybody sees Torrey, unless you're doing a very different thing from any set I've ever seen you do, you are very animated. And you're running around. You're doing stuff. Are you exhausted at the end of your shows?
Yo, I'm literally so drenched in sweat.
Okay, I thought so.
Yo, from a set, I'm so drenched. Like, I am drenched. I am extremely exhausted at the end of all my sets because I'm just like, I can't sit still.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit still, but then, there are some parts of the joke where, I want to emphasize just how, absurd or something is. And it's like, for me, I do that because a lot of times you just got the guy standing at the microphone, just telling you a joke, and then somebody's just sitting there going all right, cool, the joke is funny, but I know the punchline's coming, but then but where's the show?
Yeah.
You know, like where's
Yeah.
like you have the joke side of it, but where's the performance side of it? Like where's
Yes.
the entertainment at? You know,
Yes.
how are you keeping people interested in what you're talking about right now? You know, so
Yeah, I get it.
I think about people that have like ADHD or ADD and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Like so, like as long as I'm still moving, they don't have a choice but to pay attention now because in their head they're like, but why does he keep moving?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like to capture, like I like to capture the entire audience, and then I want to keep all of them. Is my
Yeah.
goal. Like once I capture them all, like all right, I want to keep all of you. You know?
Yes.
So, like,
Yeah.
Same movements for the joke each time.
no, it's just it's natural. Like I don't
Yeah.
have like a.
There's no
Okay,
choreography.
there's no choreography. Yeah, no.
Okay. That's what-
No, there's no,
No,
choreography.
I just like I watched you. You headlined the only show we ever did in the room we're in right now,
Mm-hmm.
and like you could feel that you were like, why isn't this bigger? Why isn't this room bigger? Why can't I?
Yeah, no.
like, run
I
up
felt
the
stuck.
side. Yeah.
I hate small stages. I feel stuck, and I'm just like, all right, like
Like we had the chairs set up down like right in front of us, and you were at one point like on like the second row in like over here talking like at them, and it was great.
yeah, I don't like small stages. I like being able to move. Sometimes too, because like if I'm really deep into expressing, like I'm doing it right now, like I have to move my hands, like, and so like sometimes it's easier for the joke to flow. Another reason why I do a lot of moving, I move back and forth around too, is I'm actually sometimes going through a wicked bad case of anxiety.
Sure.
So a lot of people tell me all the time, they're like, you go on stage and you're so confident. And I tell them, I go, no, actually I'm dying inside. There's like 80 people, 50 people. It could be 10 people in front of me.
Yeah.
And like my stomach is deep down right now. It's bubbling right now. And I'm like, what joke was I gonna tell again? And like, wait, but how was I gonna tell a joke this way? And should I tell a joke that way? And all those thoughts are going in my head. So what I do is I animate myself.
Yeah.
That's it. So like,
Yeah.
after a while, I get into like a flow where it's just like, sometimes I'll tell jokes and I'm not even paying attention to the crowd anymore.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just in a zone right now, and then like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's really cool to have those sets. I don't know why I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
Those
once you
sets
get into that like Zen mode,
Yeah.
there, it was just like, all right, that's it.
where you have the audience and you
Mm-hmm.
can say a lot of things and it's gonna fly. You can try your super risky material and it's probably gonna go over.
Oh man, I've had some of those.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh, this might go over well.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my new white people joke. I don't know. That was a risky one. I tell myself all the time, I'm like, this is either going to go good or I'm going to get canceled. I was like, whew. Well, no, I just talk about like essentially how, and it's funny because a lot of my jokes aren't jokes. They be puns on real life issues.
Sure.
And that like we just don't talk about. Like, for example, how generational wealth is starting to cease to exist. And one of the masters of generational wealth, white people.
Sure.
Like white people had it down packed. Like that back when your family name meant everything to you. Had it down packed. No matter what happens, my son is starting with this much money, this much land, this much wealth. That's it.
Sure.
And then now, what I'll do is I'll call people out of the crowd too.
Okay.
Like recently, I just did a show in Portland, Maine.
Okay.
It was a mom and her daughter. And I asked the mom, I was like, what's your credit score? She goes, 750. Then I asked the daughter, I was like, well, what's your credit score?
Yeah.
And she goes, I don't have any credit. And
Yeah.
I go, well, here we go. So that makes you one of the new white people I'm speaking about right now.
That's fun. It's a fun bit.
Like everything's changing. I'm like the new white people are so close to being black now that it's kind of crazy now. I was like, I didn't know this is how we were gonna end racism. We were all just gonna be poor together.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Let's all be poor and then be broke. And I was like, I didn't think that's how that was gonna work.
All be poor in harmony.
Right? Like the Black Lives Matter riots. I pun jokes on that.
You do.
one.
You got really good jokes.
I
on
love that.
stuff.
But then again, when you really think about it, if you break the joke down, it's not a joke. It's actually
No,
what happened.
it's. I mean, you're really good at observational
Yeah.
humor. I mean, I haven't heard it in a while, but my memory is the gist of the joke is you turned on the news and went, "What is this?"
Yeah, what these aren't. Like it's a Black Lives Matter riot. They're destroying the city. there's no black people rioting. So I was confused.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can prove that black people aren't rioting. Like the Walgreens, there's a hole in the window. But I can still go buy a pack of Newports the next day. There's something wrong with that. Pharmacy, untouched.
Yeah.
But all the toilet paper's gone. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All the swishes are still behind the counter right here, but you expect me to believe black people rioted and harvested this Walgreens candy aisle still intact. Come on now. None of the potato chip bags are gone.
Yeah.
All right.
None of the potato chip bags. So this is a silly question, but we've kind of made it a theme on the show with the ones we've done so far. So we have like I forget what Aaron's calling it, but it's like a little token thing in the middle here.
I was wondering what that was.
So I don't know what it is. It's this little guy. I don't really know what he is. I don't know. He's a McDonald's toy from 2015.
Wow.
He looks like this. But what I've been doing is we've been doing these on every episode, but for episodes I don't host, I give them off to the hosts. But when I started doing, we wanted a centerpiece. That's the word I couldn't think of. We were doing a centerpiece, so it's a different little trinket like this. But I'm sure you remember that when I used to produce shows, I would mail people checks if I had to pay them, and then that got really annoying, so now I Venmo people.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did the checks, I sent out like a cute little card, and it made me smile and it made them smile, and it was nice, and I stopped doing that because it's very inconvenient. So now I give my comedians and musicians, if I book them, little old McDonald's toys that I find at Savers and Goodwill and stuff. So I don't know who this is, but he's from a movie. You can have him if you want as a memento of this show. But I picked this one because if you hit his little stomach, he makes a face like you do.
He's like, ah.
But the question I was going to ask was, do you have like a favorite like stupid cheapo McDonald's or whatever toy from being a kid?
Oh man, that's a like a gut wrenching story right there. That's hard. That's So I was one of those kids who got promised to go to the McDonald's play place.
Oh no.
Yeah. Never made it.
Yeah. You saw it.
To
from
this
the
day,
car.
I saw it. So like I remember being in the car with my mom. We'd always drop by and I'd be like, Ma, go to McDonald's, go to the play place. And she always look at me and she goes, if you could be good in school for a whole school year, I'll take you to McDonald's and you can play in the play place. I never made it to that McDonald's play place.
No.
Never made it. So I've never had a Happy Meal.
Wow.
I've never had the toy from McDonald's.
Wow.
I think the closest I got to getting the toy from McDonald's was stealing it from one of my friends, and that was when they had the gold Pokemon cards.
Oh wow, yeah.
Remember the gold?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, oh, yeah.
So I don't have a favorite. I just have an only.
Yeah. It existed.
I had the little gold Pikachu.
That's
what I
cool.
had,
That's
so.
cool.
Yeah, no, and I was like, oof, yeah, right in the field. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that would be such a heavy hitter. I say that as a lowball question, but here we are.
I'm trying to think now. I was like, man, as an adult though, I've got like the little McDonald's toys. I had the Black Panther ones.
Those were cool. Those were cool.
No, I didn't like the Black Panther movie. Did you like the Black Panther movie?
I didn't see the second one. The first one, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like my favorite Marvel movie.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
That's okay.
Did you like the Black Panther movie? I
like the idea of it.
See, that's the biggest problem. So what I don't like about the Black Panther movie is how much money it did in the box office. Like
Okay.
did those record numbers.
Yeah.
And the entire movie is black people beating up black people. No, seriously.
Is this another one of your bits that you
No,
did? Okay,
no.
be.
This is my genuine opinion.
It very well could
I
be.
literally was like, I watched the movie and then I looked at the numbers and they were like, "This is the greatest Marvel movie ever." I'm like, of course, we just watched a movie full of black people beating up black people for 2 hours.
For 2 hours.
And then they family, and I'm like, they fight each other, and I'm just sitting there shaking my head, going like, okay, so the villain of this show wants to arm all the black people around the world so they can't be oppressed anymore. And the hero is going, no, you can't arm all the black people so they can stop getting picked on by other countries. And I'm just like, wait, what?
Are we rooting for the wrong guy?
Whose side am I on? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, and then they had like the little kid from like like from Crenshaw or whatever. Somewhere they were in. I don't even remember where they were at, and they're like in the projects. And I'm just like, all right, so do I pick the kids in the projects? Because I grew up in the projects as a kid. Or do I pick this dude that's from this royal empire hidden in the middle of nowhere with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, pretending like us other black people don't exist? So I don't know. It was too much of a superpowered Malcolm X versus superpowered Martin Luther King.
Okay, that makes sense. That does.
So for me, I was just like, oh, right, this is bonkers. And then the second one, you haven't seen the second one.
I have not.
All right, so now the super race of black people have to fight somebody else.
Sure.
It's underwater Mexicans. I'm so serious. I wish I was joking. Underwater Mexicans.
Fantastic.
There's a point in the movie where the French, were like, they impeded on Wakanda, and then they forgave them. Then the underwater Mexicans did, and then they went to war. I was confused.
Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you.
I'm just confused. Like, so, all right. So, like, the black people fought the black people. The black people fought the Mexicans. Then I'm like, if they do a Black Panther 3, like, who they coming at next? Like, who's next at this point? Like, I was like, oh, my goodness gracious. I was like, all right. I was like, whatever.
The rest of the gang just...
It's funny because like one of the supposed antagonists, it was another movie where there was no bad guy.
Okay.
So it was just like, why are y'all fighting?
Yeah.
Like, you could have a conversation.
Yes.
Like you could both sit down.
This
and
could be a 2-hour talk.
This show and the time it takes us to do this interview right now.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
They could have figured it out.
They
just sit down talking. Nope. They just fight each other.
Sit down with some paperwork and
that hit home because like
a few cigars.
That was so real for me growing up in Chicago because I was like, yeah, I can remember relating to that. Like I can relate to situations where I could have just talked it out and we were like, nope, just fight each other.
Yeah.
So.
Now that you got foundation, you're going to go back to Chicago and crack that market? So
I'm going to Chicago, yes. I'm going there, and I'm definitely going to try my hand at comedy back home in Chicago.
Right on.
I've been eyeballing Kill Tony supposedly coming to Boston.
Oh, really?
I've been eyeballing that, so I've been seeing when that's going to happen. But I have a friend down in Austin, Texas, who already told me I'd come stay with him for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
And I want to try my hand at Kill Tony.
Yeah.
1 minute of
oh my goodness.
doom, apparently,
because
I've watched over 200 clips of people trying that 1 minute, and not a lot of them make it. So.
Very few. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of Kill Tony, and it's rough. It's rough.
That's why I want to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I want to do it. I've written like 4, like I've like in my head created like 4 Kill Tony bits. I'm just like, all right.
You got a minute. You can do this.
A minute. That's rough.
That is rough.
A minute.
So short.
I don't think people understand how fast a minute could be versus how slow a minute can be.
Yeah.
Like, you're bombing for a minute, it feels like 3.5 hours.
It does. It does. But if you're doing well, it feels like 8 seconds.
Boom. Like, wait, what? I just started. Wow. All right.
Trust me, the ending was great.
Yeah, right? Like, hey, so follow me on TikTok. I recorded that joke.
Yeah.
But
come see me at an open mic cross
right
after this. I promise I'll do it again.
I'll be in the parking lot telling the rest of that joke if you guys
follow me
are interested.
Out. This is what I drive.
in the trunk.
Yeah. Stand on top of the car. Perfect. Oh my goodness. I mean, I feel like this is probably not a professional question because we're comedians, but how often are you getting up on stage? How often are you going up and doing sets?
So I do Wednesday. I just did 1, 2, 3 shows. I've done 3 shows this month so far.
That's awesome.
And then every Wednesday I try to get out to an open mic.
That's cool. Okay.
So I try to stay. If I go too long without like either at least doing the open mic or jumping on the show,
I'm so with you.
Like it'll grow. I'll just be like, meh, whatever.
It eats at you too, because like then when you do go back, like you even if you have a killer set, you feel like you're falling apart with your material. And like I'm trying. I wrote a bunch at the beginning of the year. I'm writing a bunch now, but from like probably the end of March or beginning of June, I wasn't writing a ton. And so now I'm trying to do sets of the stuff that I was writing in like February, and I hadn't touched it in months, and I'm like,
Like, well, how did that joke go again?
There's something here, but it worked then. Trust me, guys.
Yeah, no, I ran into that recently, actually. Like, some of my killer sets that I usually drop aren't as killer anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right. So, like, now I'm at that point to where, like, do I evolve the joke or do I retire it?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, all right, cool. So.
And, like, there's no reason you can't, go back to something forever later.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't remember if it was on this show or not. I don't think it was, but I was saying to somebody, another comedian recently, one of my favorite, like, interview quotes I ever heard a comedian say was a few years before he died. Louis Anderson was on a talk show with, I don't remember who the host was, but they were talking about, like, the craft of writing material. And he was like, sometimes you get lucky and you write a joke in 5 minutes and it works and it's a great joke. But a lot of the time you write, like, the punchline or the setup or something, and then you forget about it or you just can't nail it for years. And then 5-6 years later, you're like, that's how it should go. Mm-hmm. And then it's part of the rotation, even if you started it forever ago. And I always thought, like, that's such good advice, even though he's not wording it like advice. Like, it's such a good, of course, like, it doesn't matter. No audience member's going to be like, wait a minute. This joke screams 2015.
Yeah, right? Like, hold on 1 second. My memory on Snapchat came up from an open mic in the middle.
Yeah. I remember this.
My big thing was I had a lot of jokes, and I had them out of order.
Okay.
Like, so the flow flowed, like, terribly. And then I had a lot of times where I created jokes separately, and I never thought about tying them together into one set. Because now what happened was I did a lot of 5-minute, 7-minute sets, 7-minute sets, like my first year of comedy. And then that second year of comedy, like for like the first 4 months of the year, I was headlining everywhere. Mm-hmm. So now it was like, so now 5-7-minute sets aren't good enough anymore. People want quick. 20, 25, 30. And then, like, I was like, well, all right, how do I fill that time? And then I realized a lot of the quick jokes I put together, I've learned to tie them into one cool story so that the callbacks matched and everything way. Yeah. Like, so that was one thing I've learned this year. So
that's awesome. Yeah, callbacks are such a, like, important but tricky thing to explain to someone trying to make them work. Mm-hmm. I feel like you can do them or you can't. Not you, but like the like they're so it's such a skill to write a however long 30-minute, 40-minute set.
40-minute set. Oh.
And at minute 38 you're referencing something at minute 6, and whatever you said at minute 6 resonated so well that they remember what you said.
Further on, it's like. Because I try to make sure that I have time for crowd work. Yeah. But I don't want to depend on it. I've seen a lot of comedians who depend on crowd work to fill the time, and I'm like, I've had some non-receptive crowds before where I was just like, all right, well.
Same. I mean, I think every long set I've ever done, there's always like 2 or 3 jokes that can go into crowd work. Mm-hmm. But they don't have to, and I'm still at time either way.
Correct. Yeah.
That's how I usually write them. But like I think you've heard the joke, but I have one about it's this very like gross thing I'm talking about. But then I compare it to Alice's Restaurant, the like late '60s Thanksgiving song. Mm-hmm. But I only go into that part of the joke if I look at the crowd and go, I bet these 3 people know that song well enough that they'll understand the reference, and if they laugh, we'll all laugh together. It doesn't always work, but that's why I don't need to do it.
No, I have some where I was just like, all right, this is definitely gonna rile somebody up. It's gonna ruffle someone's feathers here, and everybody's like, one of my favorite jokes I always go say, like who's in the room thinks they're not a racist. So normally
that's a good one, yeah.
Normally someone bites. Like I had one room, no one bit. I was oh man, I can't remember where I was. I was close to Cape Cod, but I cracked that joke, and no one bit on it. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be an interesting room. I was like, round of applause if you are racist, and the entire room erupted. And I was like, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my last set of comedy, because clearly I'm getting sacrificed to the blood moon tonight.
It's been a pleasure. You seem nice otherwise, but...
Well, I was the only black guy in the room.
No, I know what I'm saying. Like, I figured you were.
I was like, well, that's it. This is my reverse freedom ride.
Hope you like laughing at stuff that makes you uncomfortable.
This is it. Like I couldn't. I was so confused at that moment, but like I used it to my advantage.
Yeah, you play with it. You have to, and then run.
Yeah, no. I just assume if everybody clapped because they're racist, I'm like, everyone in this room definitely voted for Donald Trump. So I was like, all right, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
A couple of Donald Trump jokes and we're out of here.
And we're done.
All right, change the subject really quickly now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I've never been in the situation where like I felt the room was against me in entirely like that, but I've definitely had the like. I think I've told you the story not in this setting, but like, you know, a bunch of years ago I was doing, I think it was an open mic, it might have been a showcase, and I used to have a joke about like that I could see offending somebody, but like it wasn't offensive to me. And I had a guy come up to me, it was a joke about a deaf person, and I had a guy come up to me and try to fight me in the middle of my next joke and say, you don't know I could be deaf. And what I wanted to say was, but I know you're not. Because we're speaking, we're talking, I know. But it was just like, you just want a reason to fight. Like, that's a funny joke, and I know it was. But what are we, like, get out of here. And then the bartender kicked him out, but it was just like, don't come at me in the middle of a joke. Like, what are you doing?
I've definitely had one of those moments where I, like, lost composure in one of those ones.
Oh, yeah?
It was terrible. It was so terrible. It was during, like, I was doing one, like, the generational wealth one, right?
Okay.
One of the other questions I asked, I was like, so did you have a one-parent or two-parent household?
Okay.
You know? And then, like, nowadays, the massive influx of single-parent homes now, you know, it's starting to affect more than just the poor community. It's
sure,
it's trickling up. The tax brackets like crazy now. And one of the girls that was with her was just like, that's not a cool question to ask. She was like, I grew up in a one-parent household, but that's because my dad passed away. You're a jerk. You shouldn't tell that joke. And I was just like, I was confused. I looked at her and I go like, I don't know if you know, man, but like I'm a comedian and like I don't know you personally.
Right.
Like
I didn't survey the room.
I didn't Google you before I took the mic. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm like, my purpose is to tell jokes that are funny. It is not to be offensive.
Right.
Also, I wasn't even talking to you. You know. And then like she kept going. She kept biting at me. She kept biting at me. So now there's the comedy in me, and then there's that little kid from Chicago who only knows how to come back with witty comebacks because we trash talked each other on the bus on the way to school each other. And so I immediately, I fired off. I couldn't help it anymore. I looked at it and I was like, you know what, how about this? How about I break down the jokes to old school? We'll do old school jokes. Like we'll go back to the good old golden days. Knock, knock.
Okay.
She looks at me, she goes, who's there? What you think I said?
I'm sure we can't air it.
What do you think I said? Who can't come to the door?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I
yeah, I was terrible. That was a terrible moment.
Yeah, that's what I assumed you were going to say. I just thought you were going to say it worse than I did. But
no.
Good grief.
Yeah, it was terrible, right?
Yeah. Oh God. I mean,
I was like, all right.
I
think that was the darkest I've ever gone in comedy in my entire career.
Yeah.
That was the darkest. And I was just like, wow, never again. Like, he's banned for life.
That's
never again.
That's awful. I mean, I wanted to have you on too for this program because like that you told that in the narrative of like I did a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that could play on stage.
Oh,
exactly the way you just said.
Oh, yeah.
And it would work fine. Like,
oh, yeah, dude, if this was a TV series right there, everyone on Netflix would be like, oh! Post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Share on Facebook. Clip it, add a reel. I'd probably be hated by half the community, loved by the other half of the community. And that was one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, comedy can go so left or so right. Like, I could be as cool as Bernie Mac or be hated like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. I don't know.
Sure. Probably a better example than other ones you could have used, but.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anybody that hates Bernie Mac.
I don't either. No, I meant the other one.
A lot of people that hate Joffrey.
Yeah. I know you're right. I don't know anybody that hates Bernie Mac. He just seems like a beloved man.
For me, I was just like, geez, it was so bad. Did you ever read into articles on that? Like how they were treating him in real life?
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was, yeah.
Like, he's like, I played a character. Like, relax.
Yeah, who just shared a name with me, but yeah, like he seemed like a good guy. Yeah. So this normally I would ask if you wanted to plug any shows, but this is an episode that'll air just later. But do you want to plug any socials or anything like that? Because you've got to wrap up relatively soon.
Okay. If you want to follow me, it's Powerhouse Comedy _NH on Instagram, or just Torrey Slaughter on Facebook. So Torrey for those who are all like, well, how do you spell Torrey?
Yeah.
Just those two for now. I don't have any upcoming shows in the month of July. Be honest, I'm all showed out.
That's okay.
Like 3 or 4
it's
back
good.
to back.
It's good to be able to say that though.
Like, I'm sure. Well, I learned that because at one point I had every week. Like I see a lot of comedians that do a show and they have a show like every 3 days or every week, and it's just like I'm gonna be honest. I burn out after like 4 shows. I have so much other stuff going on.
Sure.
Like the parties, the nightlife, promoting, music shows. It's I'm debating on whether we want to start a battle rap league. Like
interesting.
I was like, all right, like comedy. I love comedy. It's definitely my forefront. But like, I want to make sure that when I'm doing comedy, I'm having fun.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to turn it into a job.
Right.
Like, I don't want to turn it into like a 9 to 5. I want to make sure that I'm doing comedy, I'm having fun, and it's great, But I don't ever want to put myself in a 9 to 5 position when it comes to comedy.
No,
I don't want to ever to become distasteful.
Yeah, that's a good way. Or jaded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. To wrap up, is there anything else you want to say to anybody who may hear or watch this?
Hi, Mom.
There you go.
I'm like, hi, Mom. I'm on set. I'm on TV. Hi.
You are.
I just want to thank you. Big shout out to anybody that's ever supported me. I want to say that too. Thank you guys. Anybody that sees me here, if you've ever been to any of my shows, any of my mics, or anything like that, any words of encouragement, shorts, critical criticism, anything of that nature, I just want to say thank you. Because I can't be where I am today without, supporters, fans.
Yeah, me telling you the address.
You telling me, it's funny because I was just like, hey, tell me the address. I'm like, I think it's the same address. But
I thought I did. My bad.
No, but
we're here.
You did eventually, and I was just
okay.
Yes. And then they tried to send me to Ohio, but we'll talk.
I mean, that's our other studio.
But no, I just want to say thank you to anybody that's ever supported. To anybody that hasn't seen any of our comedy shows, you're missing out. This is your chance now to go look online and go find some.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to say, John?
No.
Okay.
Tune in for
more of this.
The next episode.
Tune in for the next episode. We're here every Wednesday at 8:30. And
do we know who the next episode's going to be?
No.
We don't. We don't know who the next. Okay.
No, I'll tell you about that after. Tune into the next episode. We're here every week, Wednesdays at 8:30, and then on YouTube and podcasting apps Fridays. And we'll be back. Thanks, Torrey.
Hey.
And you get the.
I get the.
You get the yellow man.
The yellow man.
Now have double the McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
All right.
I doubled your collection.
All I would say is, maybe some fries next time.
Yeah. I couldn't afford them.
Fries.
We talked about it. Like I'm poor. It was toy from 8 years ago, or I really don't know what that's from. It doesn't even look familiar to me.
I'm like, I was telling myself, like, I've definitely seen. Nope.
No.
Nope. I don't know. I'm gonna post them on Facebook. And
Do it.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. Somebody knows. I mean, it was mass produced. Somebody knows what that is.